Haya basi, karibuni tena katika kipindi hiki kinaitwaje? Kiswahili kinaleta shida. Vijana tuchanuke podcast. Once again, we continue with our discussion. I can see someone laughing at me, but I can bet for sure their Swahili is even worse than mine. But asanteni sana for joining us once again. We continue with the discussion on the economy of mis and disinformation. Na hii tuliita ni economy ya attention. It's an attention economy which is very lucrative. So attention seekers mumefikiwa, lakini sasa sio nyinyi, but anyway. So my name is Duncan Maigwa, and yes, this is Kreko's Vijana Tuchanuke podcast. You can follow us on our X, Instagram and TikTok at Kreko Kenya, on Facebook at Kreko-Kenya, and also on YouTube at Kreko KE. And we continue with our conversation today with the same guests that we were with in the last episode, and that is Miriam. Nimesikia ametajataja mambo ya international something. Anafanya kazi international something?
International Center for Peace and Human Rights Development. PHRD Africa.
I think the gist is international.
Yeah.
Hapo ndio point, hapo ndio key. And we also have the pastor in the house. Is the pastor in the house?
Yeah. Not pastor, but a youth.
No, I just said that because he's from an organization that really deals on issues around peace and justice, in line with religious organizations. They are your biggest stakeholders.
Yeah, the
All right.
African Council of Religious Leaders.
The African Council of Religious Leaders.
Yes.
Unajua ninasema hivyo in bits ndio mjiintroduce vizuri tena. Just in a very, very, very brief manner. You can just say hi. Last time we started with the ladies. Mm-hmm. Yes?
Yes.
Ni sawa, kuna mambo ya equality na equity sijui ni gani, lakini do I start from my left? Because we always keep left. Unless overtaking.
Okay.
Sawa. Let me start with Martin. You can say hi to our listeners.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Duncan.
Asante.
I'm happy to be here with you.
Karibu sana.
Yes, my name is Martin Jane from the African Council of Religious Leaders, Religions for Peace. Yes, and I am a program associate, Peace and Justice.
Wow.
Yes.
Associate. Si associate ule wa shule. I'm an associate. Thank you so much, Martin. Karibu sana to Vijana Tuchanuke podcast once again. Then to my right, there's a lady in the house.
Thank you so much, Duncan. Hello, viewers and listeners. My name is Miriam Nafula. I work for IPHRD Africa, in full the International Center for Peace and Human Rights Development in Africa. We do with issues around promoting peace, human rights, and sustainable development in the Horn of Africa.
Wow. Thank you so much, Miriam, and karibu sana once again.
Asante.
In the last episode, in the previous one, we really did a very good job with regards to the issue of the economy. Tuliangalia tu economy inakaaje. I mean, issues on, and even some of the various ways that people thrive within this economy, on misinformation and disinformation. And last time kuna mtu tulikuwa tunataka kupesa zinaitangwa aje? Some tissue, some serviette. I hope. The problem is that the other person is a gentleman, and you know they have been gendered not to cry. So, but karibuni sana. So we talked about misinformation, disinformation, and fake news, and the players especially. We just highlighted the players within this ecosystem, but I think it's also important for us now to delve a bit deeper on these players and how they benefit. And I think today we are going to talk about, but anyway, before we even continue, who are some of these players that play within this misinformation and disinformation ecosystem? Because we are talking about it as a very lucrative economy, whereby even governments and businesses have the guts to invest millions simply to sway opinion and perceptions.
Yeah.
So there are businesses, there are also social media companies. We also have political elites, especially in Kenya. In Kenya siku hizi it's like everybody akiamka asubuhi anatafutanga tu ni nini ita trend.
A trend nayo.
A trend nayo. Lakini by the way niulize because kuna hii kitu ulikuwa umemention Miriam ya kwamba watu wakiseme kama ni mimi nikienda nikidance kidogo pale TikTok na dance kidogo alafu narudi nachomea mtu na dance kidogo nikichomea mtu, of course nitapata attention, nitakuwa na ile I'll be a very influential person. But what good is it about that?
That's why we say that it is a great risk to the affected person or to the affected institution. We are doing it to gain the popularity, the influence, the likes, and in quote, the monetary value that comes with it due to increased following. But do you know the implication that this will cause to the other party? One, you are maligning his name. It can be the name of the company, an entity, an institution.
Yes.
It will lose the trust of the public.
Sure.
It can be a product, you know, suppliers, or the consumers will shy off. A good example, the Bidco. Sometimes we used to talk about Bidco and Safaricom. We don't want to go for this product due to propaganda. And you find that, people, shied off from, using this particular product. And it is all because of the misinformation that has been propagated out there. Yeah, so there is a negative effect that comes with misinformation and disinformation to the other party. So to those maybe who are propagating lies or fake news, they need to be considerate that there are so many people who are consuming this information. It can be their relatives. It can be their institution. They have a brand to protect. So they should follow the best way and ascertain the credibility of the information before sharing it out there. Yes.
And thank you so much, Miriam. Martin, you had mentioned something about financial gain. And I think some tissues, please. Because I want to cry kidogo. Because I got conned money.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Pole.
Because of a fake job.
Oh.
So because of a fake job, but imagine someone, because you talked about the financial gains. Please allow me to lower my volume because I don't want to be very, very, very emotional on this because unajua kama hauna job unakuanga umesota sana.
Kwa desperate.
And then mtu arudi ya kufanya mpaka ukope. Yaani mtu amekuingiza box kabisa na uongo tu.
Unaona kazi ndio imefika.
Unaona kazi ndio hii imefika. Martin, can you elaborate what is the magnitude and how, just try to, I know you may not really quantify, but try to show us and to let me just use quantify the magnitude of how much some of these people gain from, in terms of monetary value, from misinformation and disinformation and fake news.
Yeah, I will say that the monetary gain is so high that the business is now evolving. We have people now, individuals who are engaging in misinformation and disinformation at a very high magnitude. We have something that we call cyber squatting. When we talk about cyber squatting, we are talking about people who are able to make websites and they're able to get domains that are a copy of real domains of websites that exist that are able to offer services to the general public. For instance, you may get somebody akona website na ameita e-citizen. Lakini sasa citizen zake you can get the N is double N ama the E is italicized ama it is in Arabic. But when you click this website, they are a copy of the real websites. And you're able to maneuver and unaenda pale ni kama unajaza birth certificate yako or you're getting your ID and you pay for the service. And when you pay for the service, then that is that. You will never get information anywhere of what happened. So the magnitude is high. People are
it's really a big big issue.
Yeah, it's really a big issue, and
it's
people
quite
are
unfortunate.
Really getting
quite
really
unfortunate.
mad.
But people are really gaining a lot of money from that.
An example just of what we are talking. We understand that unemployment is very high in our country and in Africa generally. So young people are desperate of looking for jobs. So they come across an advert. They apply to, ile curiosity unakwanga umerusha applications nyingi. Then an email comes in. Congratulations. Alafu anakuambia, now you need to pay $10.99. Nashangaa, why 1099? Why not 2000? Then you start questioning the credibility. At first, you are happy. At least you are proceeding to another step of an interview.
Yes.
Then you try to look at the credibility of the job advert. You go and look at the website of that organization, the original website, and you find they have put something there fake.
Yes.
Members of the public to disregard their below information. So you start now questioning, what if I could send my money?
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
It's very interesting because actually I remember there was a time a friend of mine came and said that, you know what, the Ministry of Government Delivery and something, Public Delivery and something, it was headed by former CS, Moses Kuria.
Oh, trade.
Yes, there was that ministry, and someone came and told me, you see, there's this link I got, there are these jobs that are being offered by this ministry. Then I went to see the link and just to see what is there. Interestingly, the website it's just an exact copy of the actual, because you see, initially you don't even want to see, you know, someone can give you a minimized, a shortened URL, and then utaangalia pale hivi uone, bora inanipeleka kwa website, I don't really care the kind of redirects that are hidden down there. But later on, when the website is open, very few people will even want to see what's the URL up there, so that you can also confirm whether it's .go.ke. You see?
Yeah.
And later on, that's when I actually had to open two browser windows, just to compare the two websites. They're actually the same. Just very, very minor differences here and there.
Yeah.
But now we ask ourselves the question, because again, there is also the financial gains. But for instance, if we come to content creators have been the biggest also propagators of mis and disinformation. Of course, they gain their attention. They become influential people. How is that useful to them, and how is that meaningful to them? How is influence beneficial to them as content creators? Maybe you can mention something about that.
First, content creators have the trust of the people. They have a huge following. So anything they post, they tend to reach a wider range of audience.
Yes.
Yeah, so when I see a post from a key person that I do follow on daily basis, that maybe I aspire or I admire, I tend to trust that information. Then I will go with it. I want to question the credibility. An example, the advert I applied for that job came from a key content creator that I know. So I ended up applying, but
Very
later
trusted,
later on I realized it was not credible. Then I didn't ask him because I knew maybe he might also have come across the advert.
Yeah.
So the content creator also plays a big role in spreading information.
Yeah.
And one thing I need to maybe to talk or to tell is that there is need for this content creator also to have more capacity building sessions with the stakeholders. It can be the civil society organization or the MCK, Media Council of Kenya, just to train them on how can they convey information out there, because they're always there on daily basis. They sleep content, they wake up content, they cherish their platform, their followers.
Yeah.
It's very painful for a content creator to lose one follower. So they always want to marshal as many followers as possible. That's why in TikTok they say tap and follow the host.
And Martin, I think even as we talk about content creators, Mato, niambie tu, why do people troll the others? I mean, mbona mtu anakutroll? How do they gain from that? Okay, ama is it just about character assassination?
Yeah, I think most of it is about character assassination, because when you come into the digital space, mostly TikTok, where you tap trend, what is trending on that day. So when he uses derogatory language against you, then the perception of his or her followers changes.
Yeah.
So they're able to view you differently. So he is able to tap in and affect you and also affect your following. So sometimes it's just personal attacks and maybe like kuchukiana, wivu. So when he abuses you or uses derogatory language against you, then it gives them like a temporary validation of hata amesikia vibaya.
So it's a feel good thing.
Yeah, it is the feel good moment.
It's a feel good moment when I see you suffer. You know, people.
And even sometimes it's cloud chasing. You just plan something. I am an influential person, you are an influential person, and we say, can we script this? Because we know we all have, followers, and we want to increase our following. So we script something as if, tunagombana kidogo, tuka hiyo, but deep within ourselves we know we are okay.
Yeah.
So once it goes out there in a spread like wildfire, then we gain followers.
Yes.
Yeah.
But of course, again, it's important to mention that following can be converted to some monetary
value. Of course, that's the goal.
When you paid for some blogging to influence. Very interesting conversations. But our listeners can continue engaging us on the comment section, and also at Kreko Kenya on X, at Kreko Kenya on Instagram, at Kreko Kenya on TikTok. We don't dance on TikTok, by the way. What we do is just to inform people. And also at Kreko KE on YouTube, at Kreko-KE on Facebook, and also our website at www.krekokenya.org. Sasa tuingie katika kitu kingine, which is very, very, very emotive. Na mimi sitaki hapa tuanze kufanya watu wasikie ni kama wanaogopa sana. Lakini hata kuogopa si vibaya, because there is also the issue on the political elites. Political elites, Mato. Hawa watu, unajua watu wana spending a lot of money. I'm sure when they are doing their budgeting, they usually budget for bloggers.
Yeah.
So I want you to tell me, Mato, how do political elites benefit from spreading misinformation, spreading disinformation? Actually, it's more of disinformation. Sometimes they just do that deliberately, because listeners need to also understand that misinformation is when I spread false information without intention to harm. But disinformation is when I do that intentionally, with an intention to mislead. Most people do misinformation with an intention to mislead. But of course, malinformation has also crept in the political arena, whereby people can now, most people can now use malinformation, pornography, to attack people politically, which is, and we also know one who was an aspirant, a presidential aspirant, whose video went trending. We don't even know whether that was true, because I think we were still trying to learn more about AI. But either way, I think that really affected this gentleman so much. And he had left a very, 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 very big job, a very big role. I think at the United Nations, if I'm not wrong. So, but Martin, how do the political elites gain from misinformation, spreading misinformation and disinformation, especially in the context of the Kenyan young people?
Yeah, the political elite are very bright people. And they are opportunists.
Yeah.
So when they find these opportunities and these information gaps, they are able to exploit them.
Yeah.
So when you find the president going online talking about tumetenga pesa, tumetenga bilioni, then we have the external powers who control the budgets, and the IMF, and the people who fund these projects and all that. They're able to see the magnitude of the impact at the local level.
Yeah.
So when we have bloggers that are running fake narratives, then the perception at the international stage is it's perceived as there is something that is being done. So they are really getting monetary gain.
Yeah.
Because we saw the incident when president was in France, and he was talking about Hustler Nation, and creating about 200,000 jobs, and it creating a frenzy.
Direct and indirect jobs.
Yeah, and it created a really big frenzy.
Yeah.
And the people in France are about to hit the streets, and the narratives there create that perception.
Yeah.
And people see like the people in Kenya. The money is really hitting the ground. But when you come to the ground level, then nothing is happening.
Then you find some people doing the Lord's work down here.
Yeah. And they attack them.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
It's very interesting, Miriam, because because recently we were actually asking a question on who interrogates some of these figures that politicians keep mentioning in forms of in denominations of
Dollars.
dollars,
Euros.
euros, and then kidogo in languages of billion, million, you know, who interrogate some of these figures, and actually even issues of direct and indirect jobs. Okay, you see direct jobs, we may try to, you know,
That
establish
you are going to
the figures, but the indirect jobs, I'm not sure. But Miriam, maybe you can weigh in on that.
Actually, there is a gap in that, and this comes to social accountability.
Okay.
That how are we going to use information to keep the government on check? And this is as a result that we are voters. We rely on information, because me in my rural home, I may not know what's happening in Nairobi unless I come to Nairobi and maybe read news. And so we rely so much on watching and social media spaces. So if somebody says that, you know, we will be exporting 25,000 jobs in the next 1 year, you know, and I really don't know which category of these jobs. So we need to ask this question. Who are these kind of people that you will export? Who are these professionals?
Who is the employer?
And what are the criteria? What are the qualifications?
Yes.
So that even me at the grassroots level, I know that I'm also working a journey with the government. It needs to be a pro-people, government and people strategy, that whatever the government is doing, it involves me. Even as an individual, I know what is the plan of the government.
So that means the government needs to be very deliberate in terms of the disseminating information. So that becomes, people have the facts with them.
Yeah, and also the government needs to invest in its feedback mechanisms. And this is a very, very big gap in Kenya. The citizens maybe are complaining of these things, this thing, but you know, the feedback that they don't really get the necessary feedback that is required, or rather the government goes silent about it. And the people now are left to know, so what? We only left them to the civil society organizations who later on pushes for them, you know, and the government keeps on going like this. So the feedback mechanism needs to be given to the public promptly. And also another thing is that the citizens also need to participate in governance at their local level through the budget making process, participate in the ADPs, CIDPs, CFSPs, so that even when the project is launched at your community level, you know that this is actually the project that exists. A good example is what activist Morarake Baso was doing. You know, he was going evidence-based approach. You know, you are going to the ground and you say
which is it's so it comes out so solidly that it becomes very difficult for you to counter.
Because this is something that was launched 2 months ago by the policy maker, whoever launched it. You know? So we expect that funds were released for this particular project, and we expect it by the end of December, this project should have completed. But now we are approaching, only remaining about 1 month to December, and even it's not even 20% complete. So who will we ask then? I am a citizen. I only stay in that community. Who will I approach? So there is need for government, and we need to appreciate devolution, yes. But have they strengthened devolution at the local level that a common mwananchi can go and approach a policy maker or a decision and maker, say that a certain amount was allocated to this project. Its implementation period is coming to an end. What has been achieved? What are the outcomes? And what benefit will this project come? Rather than, you know, us keeping launching projects day in, day out, and it has no benefits to the citizens.
It's actually relaunching. It's actually recently I was even thinking of why the media was not in a position to actually, even when they are doing the newspapers or even the articles, rather than saying, you know, Duncan has launched this and this project, they should be writing, Duncan has relaunched, these, you know. But you see, again, there is also an issue of capacity in the media houses in terms of fact checking, because if they fact check, they should be writing relaunching and not launching. So And just something, you mentioned something on participation, because that is participation. When we talk about governance and youth participation in governance, I would say that the political elites, to some extent, they have really been so desperate and very intentional in curtailing the ability of the young people to access factual information. Therefore, very, very many people are left to the hands of, fake news and false information.
Yes.
In as much as they are losing, how do the policymakers, how do these very people, Martin, who are making these policies and they are doing all this stuff, how do they gain when citizens are not able to actively participate in these governance processes? For instance, even in public participation forums, they are not able to fully or to even participate from a point of knowledge, from an informed point of view. So, what do these political elites gain from it when the citizens are not able to fully participate within a process?
Yeah, I will say that the information gap in policy making is really huge. And the political elite have really taken advantage of this.
Okay.
When you see the activist Murara, he came forward and he was very categorical and he was very straight. And he was talking about, for instance, the constitution. We have a lot of government information out there, but it's only in English. We don't even have the Katiba in Kikuyu or in Luo.
I think we just have it in Swahili.
Yeah. So the information is not able to reach at the grassroots. So these people are not able to make informed decisions. And
including the bills.
Yeah.
We usually don't have the popular versions of the bill. Unaangalia hivi kitu kinakaa kimeandikwa tu. So, but
it was also evident when there was the impeachment of the deputy president, when he had the public participation, and that is what the counsel for the deputy president was saying in Senate, that out of 14 million voters, only 200,000 people participated. Wow. in the public participation for the impeachment of the deputy president. So when we have these spaces that the youth are not able to fully air their views, then they are left gaps. And the political elite then come in and exploit those gaps. So when you have a project like the one that Kebaso was pointing out, that have been relaunched every year, then the policymaker is able to secure funding for the project.
Again,
twice,
the second
thrice,
time,
the fourth time. So they are able to
goodness.
just so they're just making
nasikia ni kama hasira imefika mahali nilikuwa nataka ifike.
kasirika kabisa.
So that means that someone is gaining at the expense of the other person's loss.
Yes.
So I think it's very unethical, right?
Yeah.
You know, at Krakow we've been talking about Utu, the practice of national dignity in society. You see, the practice of dignity in society, because tuongea ukweli huo sio Utu. Wakati ambapo people are deprived of information. Actually, I think there was some discussions at the United Nations on adding a fourth basic need, which was I think internet. It was actually to be listed as the fourth basic need besides food, shelter, and clothing. So, but at some point it makes a lot of sense. Actually, I think they should not call it internet. I think they should say access to information.
Access to information.
Access to information. I think information should be the other basic. I remember when I was in campus, there was this lecture I went to, Dr. Kahura. Dr. Kahura alituambia the difference between man and beast is because man is able to, has the ability to seek for more information. But animals cannot seek for more information. That's why years after years, you'll never find that cows have invented anything new. You wanted to say something, Miriam?
And there was, for the past few months, especially starting this year, through the involvement of the civil society organization and the CSO government, there was need for automation of the access to information ATI tool by the government to ensure that they share information online, as you said, internet, so that the public can consume. And this, they considered issues like, majority of the young people are utilizing the online spaces. Then how can we ensure we reach them? It can be through the county government or the national government. For example, issues to do with the AGPO, the access to government procurement opportunities that needs to benefit the specialized needs population, either the PWD, the women, and the young people. So it was realized that most county governments were not publishing this information on their website, which later on made the young people miss out on opportunities. And the young people were asking, we don't get these adverts. And it came to be realized that this information is not being made available to the citizens out there. And even as much as the national government had put a requirement that this information needs to be shared, there still needs that there's still a need and a gap that still exists, that even the government itself is not even sharing this information. These reports, the procurement processes that was done, the tendering process that was done, making it available for the public consumption. So there is still a big gap that needs to be filled in relation to NTI.
Yeah. Sure. I truly agree with you, because most of the time we realize that we are in a situation whereby very many people are just there. And I remember when during the very famous Gen Z demonstrations, then at some point I think the media decided to crack down on information. People who didn't have the correct information, people are like, so why are you demonstrating? And people don't know why they're demonstrating. And I think that was a bit worrying.
Yeah, and also talking about that, we always have the media freedom and independence.
Yes.
Yeah, and we respect you. So during the Gen Z protest, there was some conflicting issues between the government and the media houses and the citizens on which information to put out publicly and which not to put publicly. Yeah, and the government, you remember, at one point halted some media houses not to, to stream live the demonstrations. Yeah, and even during the 2022 election, there was a point, this station is giving its information results. This media is giving its information, that radio.
Which
some
really caused a lot of confusion.
Yeah, confusion. Yeah. So that's the role and the independence. However, the Constitution demands that the government should not affect, or rather, the government should not maybe affect the operations of the media houses, because a media house is independent. It has the right, to give out information to the public, as long as the information is credible, as long as the information follows the professional ethics that is required. So the government also needs to see how can it work hand in hand with and support the media.
That was very interesting, actually, when you mentioned the issue on how media had some sort of, I would call some parallel telling. I think Mato, your time, what used to happen, mtu alikuwa anaenda kwa ile yenye inasaidia kupunguza machungu ya moyo. Sasa unapata kwamba we are having information coming from very credible sources, but now the problem is they are all credible, but they are giving different results.
They are conflicting.
So unaenda kwenye unasikia ni kuna kufavor. So it's very interesting. But guys, I think really we've had a very good discussion with regards to who gains from misinformation, disinformation, and fake news, and also how they also gain from this entire phenomenon. So, and we continue with this conversation. Najua kuna watu wanashangaa, mbona hatumalizi, but we are coming to discuss on who loses. So I don't want to call anybody a loser, but unfortunately it could be me, it could be you who is listening to me. But someone, of course, is losing from this entire issue. So keep tweeting or keep posting on X at Kreko Kenya, on Facebook at Kreko-Kenya, on Instagram and TikTok. You can see our videos down there at Kreko Kenya. And also on YouTube at Kreko-Kenya. Actually, that's where we have some of these podcasts. And we are going to be sampling your comments, which are also going to be informing our next episodes. That's it from us with regards to who gains from mis and disinformation. But don't go too far. Stay tuned because we are going to be talking on who loses. Tunarudi discuss malosers.
Yeah.
Malosers kabisa. So my name is Duncan Maigwa from Creco, Kenya. Creco means Constitution and Reform Education Consortium. And that's it for us. Tuambie vijana wachanuke ama namna gani?
Yeah, vijana tuchanuke.
Vijana tuchanuke. Thank you so much, my guests. You have been very good at giving insights that have really benefited our listeners today. And we look forward to more and more conversations. But we are coming back to discuss about the losses, who loses from all this. Thank you so much and kwaheri.